Welcome to episode 329 of the 2-Minute Warning. Today we are looking at Matt Stafford being on the trade block, very known around the NFL, and what he would be able to do if he was traded to the Los Angeles Rams, assuming they would get rid of Jared Goff. But before we get into that video, for you Rams fans and NFL fans in general, the Los Angeles Rams have one Super Bowl win. This is a three-part question. Who was the team they beat? What was the nickname of the Rams offense the year they won? And what was the nickname of the play that came down and determined the Super Bowl, last play of the game? What was that final iconic name played? Sorry, that's a little confusing, but if you're a Rams fan, you're very familiar with what that play is to earn you guys a win. Again, who was the team that beat? What was the nickname of the Rams offense? And what was the name of that last play of the game that sealed up the win for the Rams? Of course, St. Louis at the time. Wade, getting into this though, can Matt Stafford take them into the Rams, or do you even think it's possible? What will come out of this possible trade?
I think if this trade does happen, it's a huge win for the Rams. Right now, they are performing very well with Jared Goff, and some people might say he's not that bad. Recency bias. He played pretty well in this postseason.
Yeah, no matter who you are, it's not easy to beat Russell Wilson at home.
He played pretty well in this postseason, especially with a broken thumb. But if you look at his stats this season, 58.4 QBR, that's 32nd in the league. That's really, really poor. He had a 20-13 touchdown interception ratio, and he's tied for 31st with the most for interceptions in the league. So I would expect more out of a quarterback who tends to throw shorter passes, and only 3,952 yards, which is 14th in the league. And as a starting quarterback, I would expect you to have more, especially with the weapons he has. He has Cooper Kupp, Cam Akers, Robert Woods, and Van Jefferson sort of emerged at the end of the season. He played pretty well. But if you look at Matt Stafford's number, he's in a far worse situation. Had a 68.4 QBR, which is 15th. 10 points better than Jared Goff, and only 10 interceptions with 26 touchdowns. I think that Jared Goff's receiving core is much, much better than Matthew Stafford's, and he was still able to put up better numbers than Jared Goff throughout the entire year.
Yeah, I love what you said on the Rams, just the help they have overall around the quarterback. The biggest piece I'd like for if Matt Stafford got to the Rams is the fact that Cam Akers, rookie running back this year, amazing running back. A run game is a thing Matt Stafford has never had in his career with Detroit. I mean, if you look at him now, they got 58-year-old Adrian Peterson being the running back out for the Lions, and that's really nothing Matt Stafford can rely on. Every play of the game, Matt Stafford is just forced to get a first down by his own through the air. Of course, that's a common thing for quarterbacks to throw the ball more than they run the ball, of course. But at sometimes you want to be able to, as a quarterback, take a step back. You know, it's 2nd and 8, run the ball, take the pressure off you a little bit, and possibly have the running back get just a couple of yards, and you have a manageable 3rd and 4, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 5, or whatever it is. But every time the Detroit runs the ball, there's no electricity. There's nothing good coming out of the backfield. And Matt Stafford is always forced to these 3rd and longs throughout his entire career. It's just always reliant on him. And sadly, I'm not saying Josh Allen is in the same situation as Matt Stafford because Josh Allen just got to the AFC Championship, but we see that in Buffalo. Josh Allen is very reliant on the passing game, and the Bills in general, they have no run game, and it kind of bit him in the ass in the deep run in the playoffs. They couldn't beat the Chiefs without a single run game. So just a little reference, of course, they're not in the same situation, but Matt Stafford finally getting a running back, if he went to the Rams, I think would definitely take them to the next level. Looking at what the Rams have this year, already made it to the divisional round, beat Seattle at home. They were, I think, one game back from winning the NFC West, if I'm not mistaken. That's what it is. But progressing into next year, I'm not sure the Rams are going to be able to pull off an 11-5 again, because between that division where you're going to have Russell Wilson, you're going to have Kyler Murray, you're going to have Jimmy Garoppolo, and Jared Goff, there's an argument to be made that Jared Goff is the 4th worst quarterback in that division. You can even argue he's the 2nd best. You could go Russell Wilson, Goff, Murray, Jimmy Garoppolo, however you want to rank it, but there is an argument that could be made that he's the 4th worst quarterback in no matter who you are and what team is around you. If you're the 4th worst quarterback just in your division, how do you expect to win a Super Bowl? I think you trade Matt Stafford there and they take a huge upgrade. You get a ball, you get a guy who can throw the ball deep down the field, much more accurate, much stronger arm, and I just think he's a better talent overall. As long as the Rams don't have to sacrifice Jared Goff and 2-3 first rounders, I don't see why you're not intrigued by Matt Stafford. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a straight up switch in the Rams throwing a pick, but if they had to give several first rounders and several draft picks and overpay for Matt Stafford, not in love with it, but if they could get him for a fair price, I don't see why they don't go for it.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people hating on him. I was watching a Colin Cowherd video yesterday, and he was just absolutely destroying Matt Stafford. I don't think he deserves that. I think, yes, he has had struggles. He has only had 3 winning seasons, but he's never been surrounded with a solid team. There he would have a great defense and solid weapons and a good run game to rely on. I think that would elevate his game. He's got the talent. We've seen that. We saw that in college. He's a little bit older than Jared Goff, so he might bring some experience to the table. But overall, I think that he's a much more talented quarterback, and I believe that you are right that if the price isn't right, don't get him, obviously. You did just fine with Jared Goff this year, but I wouldn't expect the same type of production and overall season as the Rams had this year with Jared Goff. I think that if you want to be competitive in that division, which is very solid, with the 49ers team that's healthy, Seahawks and Cardinals, I think you're going to need a better quarterback play, and I think that Matthew Stafford would be the right guy there.
Yeah, and just like I mentioned how Matt Stafford's never had a run game, he's just like Wade said, the Rams have such a great defense. He's really never had a defense to rely on as well in Detroit. And when he had Ndamukong Suh being an amazing D tackle, one of the best in the league when he was with Detroit, that's when Matt Stafford was able to take him to the playoffs. So something tells me if he gets an Aaron Donald on the defense, if he gets a Jalen Ramsey on the defense, and he's not forced to put up 34, 48, 40, whatever points it is a game, and he only needs 21, 28 to pull off a win, Matt Stafford is in such a great position. I don't see why the Rams would not be intrigued here. If you're set in stone on Goff, that's fine, but to me, they're going to be similar prices. You've already announced the Rams as a team. Their front office in general said if they don't get a trade bait for Jared Goff, there will be a quarterback competition between Jared Goff and John Wolford. So clearly, there's competition and there's debate, and they're not fully set on Goff. And I don't see there being no reason this team wouldn't make a phone call to each other unless Matt Stafford gets swept up by the Colts or just some astronomical thing, or who knows, the Rams pick up Deshaun Watson. Of course, anything is possible, but I don't see how these two teams aren't tempted to at least talk to each other. As for the Lions, I'm not sure what value they would get. Of course, they would need Goff and a pick, but if they're asking for 2 or 3 picks, that's a little too much. Goff is a starting quarterback, and you will get a pick for it, but don't ask for too much or you're not going to pull off the deal.
I think Goff at the Lions would be
his
awful.
career will get exposed.
Yes, I think that he's being carried by the team that is surrounding him right now. I think if he were to go to the Lions, he would perform much, much worse than Matthew Stafford has.
Yeah, I mean, and another thing, like I said, Matt Stafford would get a run game he's never had, a defense he's never had, and a coach he's never had. Sean McVay being one of the best in the league. I don't see how Matt Stafford himself isn't talking to his agent and saying, get me to LA. I want to get there, and I want to be able to finally compete and be on the same level as Aaron Rodgers, arguably his biggest rivalry. But overall consensus, Matt Stafford, I definitely think if he gets to the Rams, we have high hopes.
Yep.
For the question of the day, Rams, like I said, won 1 Super Bowl. Nickname of the Rams offense was the greatest show on turf, led by Kurt Warner, amazing quarterback. The team you guys beat in the Super Bowl was the Titans. Then also you lost to the Patriots just an extra year later. But the final play of the Rams-Titans game was down to the 1-yard play. Titans are on offense, 4th and goal to win the game. Boom. Guy caught the ball, dove for the end zone, 1 yard short. One of the most iconic plays in Super Bowl history. Thanks for watching, guys.
2 minutes.